3, 2, 1. Mic's up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to Avenger Park at the Reggio Calabria Club for round 8 NPL Victoria action. It's Avondale FC taking on Hume City. And Hume looking for a piece of history. They have never won at this venue. Does the streak break today? We'll take you through the starting lineups in a moment. But we're going to start with a minute's silence for Robert Anthony Messini, a very important person here at Avondale FC. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Avenger Park for round 8 NPL Victoria action. Avondale FC versus Hume City. The day starting on a somber note with a minute's silence for Robert Anthony Messini. May he rest in peace. I'll take you through the team news for this one. Avondale, despite their defeat away to Dandenong Thunder at George Andrews Reserve last week, are completely unchanged in the starting lineup and on the bench. Soren Markovski backing in his charges to turn it around without any personnel changes. So Tom Manos between the sticks, Jackson Courtney Perkins, Kalalu Kamara, Aidan Bryce and Daniel Edwards making up the back four. Yite Towns, Christian Trajewski and Luca Tavia in midfield, Kerr, Manny Agwek and Stefan Zini in the front line. On the bench, Mayan, Matt Reid, Emlyn Wellsmore, Joey Katabian, Yusuf Ahmed and George Ott. No Stefan Valentini again for the second successive week. Hume City with just the one change to the starting lineup from the team that drew 1-1 against South Melbourne last week thanks to a late Lloyd Isgrove leveller. Obi Eze comes into the starting lineup to replace Aaron Reardon. Michael Weir starting between the sticks. The back four of Mark Otcheng, Joseph Ford, Harry Ascroft and Asen Ishak. Josh O'Kane and Lloyd Isgrove. Burkhan Kerdar and Dennis Yildiz in midfield alongside Eze, with Michael Domfey up front. And Dennis Yildiz celebrating his 50th appearance in NPL Victoria. That feat shared today by Manny Agwek. On the bench for Hume City, Oliver Keller comes in. Damon Camilleri, Mehmet Oysel, Michael Lazaris, Kalen Atchar and Joel Russell all retain their places. My name is Josh Parrish. I'm delighted to be joined by Tyson Holmes for the second successive week. Five-time NPL Victoria champion Tyson. Welcome to Avenger Park. What are you expecting from today's contest?
Yeah, thank you. It's obviously great to be here. I think today obviously, from Avondale's perspective, they're really going to be looking to bounce back off what they would consider a disappointing loss last week against Dandenong Thunder. Hume obviously coming off a 1-1 draw against South Melbourne, so I think Hume probably had a lot of expectations on themselves as well this year. So to come to Avenger Park and get a result, that's something that they'll be looking to achieve. So should be a good battle between the two clubs, and you know, you'd expect Avondale to try and get possession of the ball early and really dictate terms here.
Hume City up and down form, to say the least, to start 2025. Rick Marchioli is back in the dugout today after serving a one-game touchline ban. He was sent off for dissent against Heidelberg in a 5-1 reverse in round 6. We're underway here with Avondale in the all-blue, kicking from left to right. Hume City in the all-red home strip. Trajewski under the pump early, and Lloyd Isgrove forcing the turnover. Yildiz to Kurtar. Kurtar with the clean pair of heels past the traffic there, and Dennis Yildiz drove it in low. Couldn't beat the first man in Courtney Perkins. Referee today is Michael Mammis. He's waved away that appeal for a free kick from Kerr. Taken by Yildiz. Gets the return from Isgrove. That's a shallow back pass. Joseph Ford doing well to keep it from the clutches of Stefan Zinni. Michael Weir pumps it clear. Flicked on by Domfey to no one in particular. And Dan Edwards has all the time in the world to keep that ball alive. You can see early, Tyson, Hume City with a very aggressive high press.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, they're expecting Avondale to try and dictate terms here on their home pitch, but they're pressing well at the moment, and it's one of those things. If they can pick the ball off high up on the pitch, they can create some hopefully some dangerous chances and maybe pinch an early goal here.
Manos with a big switch of play. It ends up with Ford. Looking almost more like a back five for Hume City. Yildiz and Ocheng as the wing backs. Courtney Perkins. Kerr helping it on. Ishak anywhere will do. Domfey doesn't bother to chase that one. He would have been offside. Kamara. Courtney Perkins. Left that one behind. Isgrove nipped in for a moment. Yite Towns bailing out his teammate. And then a lovely weighted ball from Luca Tavia. Finding Kerr in space down the right. First moment of opportunity for Avondale. But the shot cannons into Yildiz. Still Kerr. Switches the point of attack for Edwards. Combining with Zinni now. Back to Tavia. And now Yite Towns with the adventurous try from range. Kamara. Helping it on to Courtney Perkins. Trajewski has drifted wide, taking on Isgrove. Great footwork from Trajewski. And he'll win the throw.
It hasn't taken Avondale long here to now get on the front foot. You can see how high they're all sitting up on the pitch. Aidan Bryce is in his own attacking half at the moment.
Every red shirt back defending this Avondale attack. Back to Bryce, who's the lone holder of defensive shape. He's been joined by Kamara now. Zinni dropping off deep. Courtney Perkins. Towns calling for it and receiving. Trajewski. Turned behind by Asen Ishak, and that will be the first corner of the game. It goes Avondale's way. Kerr to take an in-swinger with his left boots. Bryce and Kamara venturing forward. Into the danger zone. Good punch from Weir. Done well to get a fist over the top of Manny Agwek there. Franceschi. Little clip ball down the line. Kerr running onto it. Kerr coming in with a strong tackle. Another scuffed clearance, but it's off Kerr and out for a Hume throw. You can hear what Zoran Markovski thinks of Kerr's attempt to press there. Looking for a little bit more physicality and ferocity from his number 11.
Yeah, that's clearly the standards that obviously Zoc has tried to instill in this team. He, if they don't have the ball, he doesn't seem to be very happy, so he wants them to press as hard and fast as they can to win that ball back as quickly as possible.
Getting my head around this Hume City shape. It looks to be almost a 3-4-3, but with Michael Domfey dropping in pretty deep on Yite Towns when they lose the ball. It's going to mean the striker has a lot of legwork to get forward when they win it.
Yeah, there's not going to be much of a target up front if they do win the ball. He's sitting deep in midfield at the moment.
Franceschi spinning down the line. Courtney Perkins hitting the deck hard. Avondale go on with the attack. This is Kerr striding forward, finding Tavia, Tracheski. They rather stepped on each other's toes there. Still alive for the Avengers. Tavia breezes past O'Kane. Still Luca Tavia. Little reverse into Tracheski, and it's a good reaction save at the near post from Michael Weir. Another set-piece chance for the home side. 3 runners at the back post for Avondale. Kerr's delivery. Weir off his line to punch and hooked away by Isgrove. And it's all hands on deck defensively for Hume City every time they concede a set-piece. Bryce finding Zinni. One-on-one with Ford. No way through. And Joseph Ford cleverly wins a goal kick. Perfect weather for football today. Very mild, slight breeze. Knocked forward by Weir, flicked on by Domfey. It trickles all the way through to Tom Manos. He gets us back underway very quickly. You can just see what a relentless concentration exercise defending it against Avondale is. They don't give you a moment's peace when they restart play. But Hume City have won it back here. And it's Obieze for Isgrove. That's a decent side of goal for Lloyd Isgrove. And by his standards, perhaps he should have made Tom Manos work.
Yeah, I would assume chances for him will be few and far between today. So those sorts of chances, especially falling to someone of Isgrove's quality, he'd be wanting to work the keeper a bit harder than what he just did then.
Scored from a similar range to equalise against South Melbourne last week. Bryce's pass is picked off by Ascroft. Yildiz beaten by the bounce. Kerr Squeezes it through the gap. Trzeski. Tavia. Agwek wants it. Still Luka Tavia. Onto his left. Finding Zinni in space. Still Stefan Zinni looking for a handball against Ocheng. Mamis took a long look at that and awards the spot kick. The arm was outstretched from Mark Ocheng. The referee had a long old think, but he saw it clearly and awards Avondale a penalty inside the first 10 minutes.
There doesn't seem to be too many complaints from Hume City players there, probably more a bit of disappointment, but Avondale's movement at the moment through midfield, Trzeski's coming, getting the ball out wide and obviously getting the likes of Luka Tavira on the ball to be able to run at the back line, and it's causing a lot of trouble for Hume. It's caused a lot of trouble for other defences in the league as well, so Avondale up to their usual tricks today.
And the responsibility will fall to Avondale's top scorer this season, Manny Agwek. Has already found the back of the net 4 times this year. It's Agwek who sends Weir the wrong way. Oh, Michael Weir is complaining about the manner in which Agwek has taken that penalty. Is he saying there were 2 players in the box when it was struck, or a double touch?
Double touch. The ball did really bobble. So that's what all the Hume players are saying. It definitely wasn't a cleanly struck ball. The ball popped straight up from our angle.
Well, we've seen that given in the Champions League.
We have.
We don't have VAR here in NPL Victoria. The goal will stand, and Manny Agwek gives Avondale an early advantage at home. Still, the discussion goes on. Almost impossible to tell from our camera angle. Could just be a divot on the penalty spot, Tyson?
Yeah, potentially. As you've said, it's hard to tell from here, and the referee's obviously made his call. He seems adamant that even if it was a second touch, he's not too deterred by it. He's given the goal and just expects everyone to move on now.
Well, it's worth pointing out that as the laws currently stand, it is not a retake. That's just an indirect free kick the other way, as Avondale win it back high immediately. Kerr. Ford's header drops to Tavia. Trzeski at the back stick, cleared by Ishak just in time. So as a referee, you have to be absolutely certain if you're going to not only disallow the goal, but disallow the penalty entirely and just give the ball back to Hume.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, with the level of football at NPL, unfortunately, the refs don't have the advantages of technology to help them. So once they make their call, unless there's considerable evidence to overturn it.
Courtney Perkins. Ishak away off the chest of Bryce. Edwards back to Bryce. Kamara having to take evasive action to avoid that pass. Courtney Perkins. Galloping forward from right back. Kerr. Avondale seem to have the ball on a string at the moment. Edwards. Clipping it over the top. Zinni. Couldn't weave his way past Joseph Ford. And Edwards could only put it into touch for a Hume throw. Well, as things stand, Hume's miserable run against Avondale looks set to continue. They have not beaten the Avengers since April 2017. It has been 13 games without a win against Avondale. We're on a 7-game winning streak against Hume. And the last time that Hume actually beat Avondale, Liam Bolwin scored the winner at Broadmeadows. That was the year before he signed for the Avengers and really made his name here at Avenger Park. Kurda. Ishak. Yildiz for Eze. Tyson, did you ever think about that stuff when you were playing historical records, losing runs against teams, the weight of history, or is that just a preoccupation of us commentators?
Yeah, I'd say a preoccupation. As a player, you're not too aware of those things, obviously, unless it gets announced in the media the week leading into a game or those sorts of things. But, yeah, as a player, I guess you don't really read that much into those things. But, you know, if you can overturn things like that, obviously Hume's having a bad run here against Avondale, and it doesn't look like changing today, but they would have come here probably knowing the situation and hoping to try and get a result.
Play will be held up here for Dennis Yildiz, who looks to have a problem. It'd be a real shame if his 50th game in the Victorian top flight was brought to an early halt. Was just in the tackle with Hite Towns a few moments ago. Went in for the slide, won the ball cleanly, but looks to have turned his ankle in the process. Magic spray's coming out, so maybe just a contact injury from Towns.
Yeah, it looks like he could have just rolled on his ankle. Those types of injuries usually sting for a couple of minutes and should usually be able to keep going, obviously, if there's no actual significant damage there. But you'd like to hope he's okay in his 50th game. You don't want to go off after 20 minutes.
Looks like Yildiz will try and walk this off. And he's back out. Hume City back up to 11 players. Kurda. His radar was off that time. And now Zinni going the other way. Tavia, Agwek, back to Zinni. Galloping to the byline. The cutback for Trzaskowski is just intercepted at the last. Harry Ascroft had to make that. Christian Trzaskowski was in acres of space. Now Domfey running off the shoulder of the last defender. Doesn't quite have the pace to get on to that through ball. Tom Manos off his line in a flash. Towns. Agwek went to ground late in search of a foul that never came, and now Kurda felled for a Hume City free kick. pass from Yildiz was off the mark. Tavia clips it over the top. That's a wonderful ball. And Trajewski's in. Ashcroft going to ground. A brilliant last-ditch tackle from the Hume City captain. Luca Tavia weighted that to perfection. Now Ocheng wriggling free down the right. Looking for Eze, but it's over hits. That's some effort from the man with the armbands.
Trajewski's probably just been a little bit too unselfish there. It was a great ball from Tavia. And obviously Trajewski's bearing down a goal. He's looked to square it up. However, I don't think anyone would be angry if he actually just put his foot through it and tried to score himself from there.
Trajewski finding Zinni. Zinni. Weir at full stretch. Goal gaping. Kerr couldn't turn it home. Big chance for Avondale. The goalkeeper was out of the equation, and that was begging for a finish. Now Edwards. Hume City still under the pump. Edwards to clip it high into the box. Kerr with the header, and it's well off target. And Rick Marchioli is absolutely furious with his defenders. There's that Kerr chance again. Just comes off his toe.
Yeah, he just seems to scuff it there. But Domfre's obviously been given the role to pick up Yite Towns in midfield here, and when he's not doing that role, it's becoming a 3-on-2 in midfield, and it's causing another Hume player in midfield to release and try and go to Yite, and then Tavia and Trajewski just have all the time in the world at the moment. When they're coming wide into these outside pockets, there's no one actually going with them, so they're having a lot of joy from that. As you can see at the moment, Yite Towns has got no one around him. So if Avondale win the ball, he should be their first port to get them out.
Look at the personnel in the Hume midfield. Josh O'Kane's probably the only destroyer, the only terrier who covers the ground and breaks things up. Kerdar much more of a languid ball player. Isgrove. Thought about the shot. Slips the pass to Ocheng instead. Bryce coming across to cover, and he'll see it over the byline for a goal kick. Courtney Perkins goes direct to Agwek. Taking it wide. Agwek. Zinni's free in the middle. Oh, how did he miss? Stefan Zinni, a player with such goal-scoring pedigree. You would have put your house on him burying that.
You sure would have. You've seen him score those time and time again at the far post.
Maybe just comes at a slightly awkward height if I'm being charitable. Goodness me. Avondale, a goal to the good, but it could be 3 or 4. Kamara climbing highest. Kerdar under pressure. Now Ashcroft. Yildiz. Getting the return from Isgrove. Off Kerr, and now Yildiz pulling up sore with that ankle again. Thinking about the long throw here, it looks like. Indeed it is. Free header for Towns, though. O'Kane back into Domfey. Bryce away from trouble. And Tavia couldn't find a teammate. Instead, testing the reflexes of someone in the crowd. O'Kane. Into Curda. Hume City with a chance to build an attack. They've been deep in their own half for a good chunk of this first 45. Okay. Ishak. Kamara getting in the way of Domfey. Referee happy to wave it on. Manos. Tavia. There's Joseph Ford on his back. Edwards. Offline, he was trying to cut it back for Agwek. Now Hume come the other way through Curda. O'Kane. Ocheng with the early delivery. Domfey in the middle. And the free kick goes Avondale's way for a shove in the penalty area. And a yellow card shown as well. Yellow card might have gone Lloyd Isgrove's way for the little push on Courtney Perkins. Here's Trzeski. Oh, just wrong foots Stefan Zinni there. Hume City preparing a change. Dennis Yildiz won't be able to continue here. He shrugs his shoulders in frustration and goes to the bench. And on comes Mehmet Oysel to fill in that left wing-back role. Player who's come up through the Hume City youth ranks. I believe used to playing a little bit further forward, but he's going to have to fill in at left wing back today. Zinni. For Towns. Towns getting free again. Ocheng stretching to buy Hume City some time. Feels as if Michael Domfey doesn't know whether to stick or twist. Does he press the centre backs? Does he stay on the midfielder? Caught between.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was just feeling quite sorry for him just then when I was watching him. He's, you know, he's got to try and deal with the likes of someone like Yite Towns defensively, but then
here
be
comes
an actual
Tavia.
Target.
Sorry, Tyson. That one flashes across the face. As you were saying, Domfey looks like he's running through treacle at the moment. He's trying to cover so much in terms of his defensive responsibilities.
Yeah, exactly. And then when Hume get the ball, they expect him now to run forward and be the target man up top. So it's a lot of work for a striker who probably isn't as used to, you know, defending and working like a midfielder. And Yite Towns isn't exactly the slowest and least mobile midfielder going around the league. He's constantly moving. And you can see the type of team Zox put out there today. The whole midfield and front three, it's all about mobility, movement. They're all rotating between each other, swapping positions. And they're all just on the same wavelength as each other.
It's a pretty complicated Hume setup. Looks like they're going to a back four when they have the ball and pushing substitute Oysel a lot higher up the flank.
Yeah, the issue is at the moment, if they are playing two, I guess, systems, being defensive or attack, it's actually too slow between transition. So when Avondale are getting the ball, Hume aren't resetting quickly enough, and that's when Avondale are having their joy in really being able to dictate this game.
Well, Hume do have a set piece here. Kerr, the offending party. Michael Weir out to the halfway line to bark instructions at his defenders. Burkhan Kurda with the in-swinger. It's a nice shape on that ball. Harry Ascroft couldn't get a touch.
I'd like to see Hume be a bit more brave, in particular in situations like that. There was two players at the far post. They didn't even bother about running into the box there, and obviously Ashcroft's gone up for it. The ball's gone over the back of his head, and there was no one there.
Oysel, pace, Dishak. Skewed clearance, ends up with his goalkeeper. He releases it quick and high. Courtney Perkins couldn't save it. He's Grove. Kerr dribbling his way into trouble. Avondale were away. But Hume have the free kick. Now Isgrove stepping inside. Can't find a teammate. Just a slight tug of the jersey from Agwek on Kurda. That's a good spot from the referee, in fact. Meanwhile, Domfey keeping it in. Isgrove squeezes it through the gap. Domfey cuts it back. And Ocheng strikes first time! And an arrowed across goal and just wide of the far post. Mark Ocheng got a hold of that. Avondale failing to clear their lines defensively. Maybe a yard or so wide of the far stick, but it had Tom Manos scrambling. And Kurda pulled to the ground again. No debates about that one. He's a slippery operator in midfield, Burkhan Kurda. Avondale have resorted to fouling him a couple of times now. O'Kane finds Ocheng. Eze setting off, but not in time. Haven't seen too much of the teenage attacking midfielder, Obi Eze, on the ball today. Highly rated prospect who's been involved with the Western United Academy. Michael Weir outside his box. Edwards. Zinni. Bryce up to win the header. Courtney Perkins took a heavy touch. It's off Oysel. And the Hume attack continues. The substitute Oysel goes down in search of a penalty. But the contact from Kalalu Kamara was deemed fair. Any shout for a spot kick there, Tyson, or shoulder to shoulder for your money?
Yeah, I think it's shoulder to shoulder. It's great defending from Kamara. He got his body across and he knew what he was doing there. And it'll be very rare for a referee ever gives that as a penalty.
It's a hard man to get past, Kalalu Kamara. Absolute brick wall. And he uses his physical presence very intelligently.
He sure is. He's so dominant in the air, but across the actual ground as well, he's really fast for a centre back. So he's kind of a threat both ways. If you try and attack him, between the lines or over the top, he holds his own very well.
Kerr. Sevilla. It's a good little spell for Hume City, but Avondale on the attack again now. Kerr going to ground. Nothing from the referee, and a lovely touch from Eze to send Yite Towns for a hot dog. Unfortunately, the pass didn't match the dribble. Goes Luca Tavia. Bryce has to get rid of it. Oh, and Zinni with a lovely first touch. Not quite staying in bounds, though. Some confidence to kill that out of the air and try and beat your opponent for pace off one touch.
Yeah, that's one thing, having a player like Zinni in your team. He's actually been pretty quiet for the last 10 to 15 minutes. First 10 or so minutes he was involved in everything, but he's got that in his locker that if you can just get the ball out to him and keep him involved in the game, he can really hurt teams.
Stefan Zinni in space, any defender's worst nightmare in this competition. Courtney Perkins. Kamara. Confidently done. Tavia, too many red shirts around him. But Avondale work their way out of the congestion with aplomb. And draw some encouragement from their head coach on the sideline as well. Courtney Perkins. Finding Tavia. Rolls it to... Oh, that was Trzeski to Tavia, in fact. And Tavia puts it straight down the throat of Michael Weir. It was a gorgeous Avondale move. Here's Grove. Avondale know he's the danger man. 3 blue shirts converge on him in a flash. $15 goals last season for Lloyd Isgrove in the league. No mean feat for a winger.
And you see some of the goals he's actually scored. They've been top quality. It's been great for, I think, the NPL Victoria to have a player of Lloyd Isgrove's CV in the competition, and it draws eyes to games, and he can do things that not a lot of players in this league can do.
It is Isgrove who finds the pass out to Ocheng on the right. Working it inside to Josh O'Kane. Ishak. Oysel. Lovely touch. O'Kane went for the back heel. Didn't stick. Off Kerr and Hume City corner. Oh, Mehmet Oysel seems to have a few tricks up his sleeve. Player who's been quite prolific in the under-23s. Now we've got an injury stoppage on the other side for Hume City. Mark Ocheng with the problem now. Surely they won't have to replace both wing-backs in the opening half.
You'd hope not. It looks like he's grabbing at his hamstring here. Hopefully not, but if that's what he is grabbing out, you'd assume he will struggle to go on.
Yes, you can see just as he goes past Edwards and finds O'Kane, he pulls up lame in his attempt to sprint for the 1-2. That looks like a hammy. Just what Hume City need. Another injury. It's going to be Oliver Kellarts to come on. Naturally more of an attacking player. So whether they restructure or go for wingers at wing back on both sides remains to be seen.
I think Hume at the moment will just be looking to try and get into half-time, keep the score at least at 1-0, or, you know, if they could score here and go in at 1-0, they can give them a chance to reset and maybe fix some things and try and take the game on a bit more. I still think they're playing a bit too conservative. They're sitting quite deep and just allowing Avondale to dictate terms here, but a chance like this, a corner, anything can happen, and if they can go in at 1-0 at half-time, then they'll take that every day.
Lotcheng went for one last sprint just to see. But he's going to have to be withdrawn. On comes Kellart into a crowded 6-yard box for this Hume City corner. Kerdar's delivery to the near post, away by Agwek. Kerr. And now Tavia, and the Avondale break is gaining speed. Luca Tavia held on to it for too long. Joseph Ford with the challenge. Kerr winning the ball back for the home side. Nite Towns again getting free to dictate play. Not many blue shirts ahead of Kerr here. Avondale in no hurry. Towns. Zinni. Shake off forward. Tavia on for Courtney Perkins. Back to Luca Tavia. Back to Courtney Perkins, who hits the deck in search of a spot kick, which won't come his way. Lloyd Isgrove back the other way. As the eyes up, he was thinking about the early ball to Domfey that wasn't on. Instead, it's a switch of play to the substitute Kellarts. Kerda. Kellarts. Onto Eze. The pass was too heavy. He had room there, Obi Eze, but Kellart couldn't find him. It's a disappointing end product.
But the more Hume here can get the likes of Burke and Kerda on the ball, you can see he's always got intent to try and play. He tries to keep things ticking over and play forward. And when he's on the ball, he seems to be able to open the game up.
Tavia let it run. Kerr was coming back from an offside position, which he can't quite believe. Kerr making sure the free kick was taken quickly. Forwards. Courtney Perkins winning the free header. Seems this rotating carousel and the Avondale midfield is getting the better of Hume. Kerr with the first time ball in behind, and Weir has to come way, way outside his box with the diving header. That's brilliant goalkeeping. Eze onto Isgrove. Isgrove's early delivery is cut out by Courtney Perkins. It was a tense moment for Hume as you saw Michael Weir with the Superman dive. He's not shy, playing the sweeper-keeper role.
He looks like he's hurt himself here as well, which is the last thing Hume need at the moment, but I don't think it's something serious by the looks of things.
Looks like it was painful but not serious, and we'll leave it at that. Isgrove. Cut out by Edwards. A few deep breaths for Big Mike. That's put into touch. Into 3 minutes of first half stoppage time. Isgrove wants it early. Can't run out of the cul-de-sac. Franceschi into touch. Isgrove. Oh, Ishak took it long, and Weir has to charge out of his box again. And the flicked header from Courtney Perkins is almost short. Tom Manos on the scene in time. Kerr. Franceschi goes over. He was sure he was clipped. Appeals not so animated from his teammates. Tavia. It's given away cheaply by Hume. Courtney Perkins. Zinni at the far post was shaping for the volley. But Joseph Ford heads it away just in time. Eze now. Kurda. Isgrove's in space. Nicely weighted ball from Kurda. Could this be Hume's moment? Isgrove cutting this way, and that was he impeded by Courtney Perkins. Few appeals from the Hume City travelling faithful. This one going from end to end in a flash. Zinni. For Dan Edwards. No way through. Again, very well defended from Harry Ashcroft. Hume were really stretched there. Last couple of minutes like a basketball game.
Yeah,
up and down.
Both teams seem to have thrown shape and structure out the window. They're just going end to end, and you'd expect this in the last 5 minutes of the second half, not the first half. But I think with Hume have had a few half little moments here where they've been able to work their way back into the game, so they should take something into half time from this and hopefully build on that in the second half. And you know, Avondale probably have a few things to just be mindful of. There's potential that Hume actually can do some damage.
Michael Mamis brings an end to an end-to-end first half at the Reggio Calabria club. Just a solitary goal separating the two sides. And it comes from the penalty spot after Mark Ocheng's handball. Bit of consternation over the penalty itself and whether Manny Agwek took a double touch as he struck it. But the referees awarded the goal and Avondale have the advantage. Presentable chances at both ends. A big one missed by Stefan Zinni. And Hume City...
things to work on and yeah, come back within the second half.
Stay tuned for the second 45 coming up here at Avenger Park. The halftime score, Avondale 1, Hume City 0. Welcome back to Avenger Park, where the halftime score is Avondale 1, Hume City 0. A Manny Agwek penalty, the difference between the two sides at the break. Really eventful first 45. No changes for Hume City. They've already been forced into two through injury, with Oliver Kellart and Mehmet Oysel replacing Edeniz Yildiz and Mark Otcheng. But Avondale have made a change of their own at half-time. Emlyn Wellsmore coming in as a straight swap at right back for Jackson Courtney Perkins. My name is Josh Parrish. I'm delighted to be joined by five-time NPL Victoria champion Tyson Holmes on the call today. Tyson, a bit surprised to see Wellsmore not in the starting picture more often this season at Avondale.
Yeah, definitely. I think last year he was, by the end of the last year, he was probably one of the best and most informed players in the league, and a great pickup for Avondale. But it just shows the quality of Avondale's depth in their squad as well, to have the luxury to, to have someone like Emlyn Wellsmore not even be able to break into the starting team. So it's a surprise, but hopefully he can, have a good half here and put his case forward for the coming weeks.
Nothing guaranteed. Still got Matt Reid, Yusuf Ahmed, Joey Katabi and George Ott on the bench as well.
Steph Valentini's not even on the team sheet as well, so he's in the stands.
No Blake Carpenter either. It's a squad that runs deep with talent, the envy of most clubs in this competition. And they've put it to work so far this season. 6 wins from their opening 7 games. And only last week's defeat to Dandenong Thunder, which looks an aberration at this rate. Only blot on their copybook. Oysel. Brought down by Wellsmore. And a Hume City set piece to start the second half.
Yeah, there's no really need to foul there from Wellsmore. You've just got to... The player's going nowhere, so you've just got to stand and let him go backwards. Because this is just inviting pressure now, and it's giving Hume a chance to try and nick something here.
Ashcroft and Domfey the obvious targets. Towards Ashcroft, it's a scramble in the box. Domfey battling for it off the woodwork. Would you believe it? Tom Manos, the most relieved man inside Avenger Park, as the ball ricochets straight into his arms. How have Hume City not scored? Absolute chaos in the penalty area. And Yite Towns has actually saved that on the line. The header was goal bound from Domfey. It's glanced off Towns and onto the post. Here's forward for Hume. Winning it high. Eze, Isgrove, forward, Domfey. The ball's in the net, but the offside flag was up. And 2 nervous moments for Avondale to start this second half. They've come out very slowly.
Yeah, Hume have started well here. They started the first half well as well, so they've just got to be mindful once Avondale get into their rhythm. Just got to try and not allow them to do that. Keep the game on your terms and try and keep Avondale's threats out of it.
It was a tight offside call. Perhaps Isgrove just a touch slow getting back. Difficult to tell from our angle. Forwards. Under pressure here from Zinni. And Stefan Zinni will take the shot on. And a great reaction save from Michael Weir. Not only to get a palm to it, but propel it over the crossbar. It's Hume's turn to be careless and slack at the back to allow Stefan Zinni in. It was really well struck off his weaker left boot. Tavia hangs it high to the back post. Bryce attacking it. Big collision involving Ishak. And the whistle goes against Aiden Bryce. Weir's ball to Kellart. And straight to the Avondale bench. Edwards. Bryce. Oh, Domfey was right on his heels. Aiden Bryce looking a little worse for wear after that collision. Avondale find Tracheski in a pocket, and he's away. And it's on to Stefan Zinni, who has Edwards on the overlap, but Kellart saw it coming. Really well anticipated from the substitute. Ishak. Grove turns it over. Kurta couldn't get there. And here goes Tavia, and it's 3v2. Luca Tavia onto Agwek. Tavia can't get the shot away. Stefan Zinni was in acres of space at the back stick. You'd be frustrated if you were Zinni there.
Yeah, Avondale have had a few moments like that where it's just that final ball, that final decision-making. They seem to be breaking down. They're not as fluent as what they normally would be. Like, that was a clear 3-on-2, and they've just lacked that killer instinct to just put this game to bed here, and it's keeping Hume in the game and keeping them with some sort of hope.
Avondale don't run out winners here. They'll only have themselves to blame for profligacy in the final third. Bryce with the big switch. That's pinpoint. That's a Kerr. Pretty handy to have a centre half who can play passes like that off either foot. Tracheski. Bryce onto Edwards. Edwards clips it over the top. Zinni has Ashcroft for company. A shout for handball, but Michael Mammis was emphatic and waves it away. Severe with his heels clipped by O'Kane. Elects to take it quickly. Tracheski. Ishak steps in to win it for Hume. Wellsmore, Tracheski, Towns, sprinting clear and knocking it into space for Kerr, who's 1v1 against Ishak. Throwing the step overs. The cutback reaches Agwek. Tries to take a snapshot through a crowd of players, but it's blocked. Here's Grove. Rides one challenge. Couldn't keep his feet. Tracheski maybe a tad lucky not to be booked there. Michael Mammis just having a word to him as play ran on. Marchioli prowling his technical area. He's not totally happy by what he's seeing.
Yeah, he's getting frustrated at the moment, it appears, with Hume. They just keep turning the ball over too cheaply. They have to work hard to win it back, and then they're handing it straight back to Avondale at the moment.
And now Weir turns it over, and Kerr is still going here. Kerr, Zinni, 2-0. It was only a matter of time. Wave after wave of Avondale pressure eventually tells. And Stefan Zinni has finally found the back of the net. A poor clearance from Michael Weir. Straight to Kerr. And he had the Hume City backline at 6s and 7s.
Yeah, those are the moments that Avondale had quite a few of these today. And they'll probably be disappointed with some of their final output, but they managed to put that one away and make it 2-0. Gives them a little bit of breathing space now, so it'll be interesting to see what Hume do from here. I see they've come out and Domfe's still been given the role of trying to stick with Yate Town, so might have to be a few adjustments made to try and call this game back.
Feels like the relentless nature of Avondale's possession play just demands so much of the defensive team, and eventually you're going to make mistakes at this level. If you can't relieve the pressure by holding possession yourself and forcing a few attacks down the other end.
Yeah, fitness definitely comes into it as well, plays a key role. You can tell Avondale and Zock's team are very well drilled. They're all very fit and they're used to playing this way week in, week out, and I assume they would probably train in a similar fashion. So that's why in games like this they can just keep going at this level non-stop, whereas some teams will fade in and out of being able to do this and stick with them.
High foot from Ford perhaps. Michael Mamas says get on with it. Eze. Oysel is the option down the left. Ishak. Picked off by Tavir. And Ishak couldn't win it back at the second attempt. And now it's 3-on-2 again as Ashcroft slides in to snuff that out. Changes in the offing as Yusuf Ahmed strips off in preparation for his entrance. Kerr with the shots. And Domfey penalised. Joey Katabian looks ready to go as well. Ford. Really well done by Joseph Ford. The danger's not averted as Trajewski slips in Kerr. Oysel sliding. Hume on the precipice.
It was great recovery defence there for Musil, for Hume. Kerr was played in there. It was one-on-one, and the Hume defender got back really well to scuffle that and make it a corner rather than a goal.
And some last-ditch challenges to keep Hume City in the game today. Kerr. Kamara. And now Kerdar takes over. It's too heavy for Isgrove. Transitions are so quick, Avondale, in the defensive transition. Looks like Kerr will be one of the players replaced after his assist a few moments ago. Edwards. Tavir rides the challenge of Kerr. Skips away from Eze. Kamara charging forward now. Rather splits the difference between his teammates. But that will give Avondale a chance to make those changes. So on comes Yusuf Ahmed and Joey Katabian. Off come Kerr and Christian Trajewski. Well, the board said 23, but it looks like it's number 27, Luca Tavir, coming off instead. But it might be a bit harsh to bring off Trajewski after how good he's been today.
Yeah, both he and Tavir have been very good. Their movement has been great. Just that final delivery, and I think with players like that play at such a high intensity, you know, something has to give at some point, and sometimes it is that final pass to find a bit of quality. But you know, the squad Zoc's got, he's got the luxury of being able to rotate players, and you know, if you're a Hume defender and Kerr goes off and Ahmed comes on, it's a horrible sight and feeling, no doubt.
Wellsmore. Zinni. Yusuf Ahmed on the near side here. Had to bide his time in the reserves for several weeks before he cracked the first team, and then as soon as he came in, scored twice against St Albans. Delicate ball over the top for Towns. Kellart getting a toe to the ball and sending it behind for a corner. Action underway in Shepparton. Melbourne victory 0, Green Gully 0 after 23 minutes in that one. More action coming your way on Sunday and Monday. As Trajewski sends the ball to the penalty spot for Kamara, who propels it goalwards. And Michael Weir at full stretch to reel that one in. He was a long way out, Kamara. Quick release looking for Isgrove, forces Manos into a header. Tough to score from that sort of range with your head, but Kamara already has one goal this season on opening day away to the Oakley Cannons, which proved to be the winner. He's a real aerial threat. I also feel like Hume City are missing their long-term injury absentee Tom Maricic from those sorts of situations. Also can't wriggle his way past Wellsmore. As I was saying, Melbourne Knights versus St Albans in the Croatian derby tomorrow at Summer Street from 3 p.m. And then South Melbourne playing host to Dandenong City at Lakeside, 7:30 p.m. kickoff on Monday night. Were you a fan of a Monday night fixture in your time, Tyson?
No, I was definitely not. It just Monday night fixture, it meant there was an extra day of training throughout the week, so usually we would then do 3 during the week and probably a weekend session. So yeah, when the likes of Bulleen and Kingston were in the NPL, it was horrible, to be honest.
And then a 4-day turnaround for a Friday night game.
Yeah.
Good for the spectators.
Yeah, good for the spectators, and you know, I guess in the long-term things, it does help you become a bit battle-hardened when you've got small turnarounds, in particular when those cup games and midweek games start coming into effect. So there's positives to it. But yeah, you prefer to be able to just sit back and enjoy your weekend. The Friday night games are always the best.
Edwards. Sure, Avondale would love to join the contingent of Friday night teams, but the lux level of the lights here at Avenger Park isn't quite up to snuff for night fixtures, and with the hospice next door, they have restrictions on light after a certain time, so Avondale a little bit hamstrung by the location. It's always good fun on a Saturday afternoon here at Avenger Park, especially when Avondale are playing the sort of football that they've shown today and really throughout this season. Offside against Yusuf Ahmed. And a change coming up for Hume. Joel Russell is going to come on for Michael Domfey. You familiar with Russell, a Queensland boy, Tyson?
Not personally, but I know quite a few boys that played with him last year at Gold Coast Knights, and I still follow the NPL Queensland, and I know he scored quite a number of goals and some very good goals, so highly rated in Queensland, and yeah, he's obviously just still trying to find his feet here in NPL Victoria, as the change and the jump can be quite significant.
He's already got a goal for Hume City. I think it was against Altona Magic. Turns 22 this year. 15 goals for the Gold Coast Knights last season in NPL Queensland, which was enough to secure him the Young Player of the Year award.
And I know there was actually quite a couple of NPL Victoria clubs chasing him, and some very good ones. So, you know, he obviously made the decision that he probably felt at the point in time that Hume was the best move for him. But I think it was a credit to him, obviously, what he did last year. It didn't go unnoticed from teams here in Victoria.
He's got a few familiar faces down here with Godfrey DeBelle and Aaron Reardon, who've both played at Gold Coast Knights. Hume have absolutely raided the Knights in this off-season.
Yeah, they sure have. There's, yeah, every year I think now we're seeing quite a number of players come from NPL Queensland, and yeah, I think obviously with a club like Gold Coast Knights and some of the other teams, when you're doing well, it means you draw the attention of clubs here in Victoria.
Here's Oysel for Hume. Ishak to cross. Isgrove. Well, the jump was impressive, but illegal. Pole vaulting on Dan Edwards' shoulders. Is there any resentment from the Queensland clubs that their talent is pilfered every off-season by teams down south?
I would assume so, yes. It's been a long time since I left. I arrived in 2013. But I know, yeah, there probably is some frustration. And, you know, the clubs in NPL Queensland, though, what it's forced them to do is, I guess, probably try and help, you know, I guess improve the situation for players there to try and entice them to stay. But, you know, you also see some players come here for a year or two and go back as well. So, obviously, one thing that Queensland has over Victoria, it's the lifestyle and the weather. So that is one drawing card for a player.
Can't argue with that.
But we have seen obviously some very good players come from Queensland. So it is there's a lot of quality there. It's just, you know, whether players have the ability to make the jump to NPL Victoria.
It was your Bentley Greens that pioneered that approach. A very successful one at that. Johnny A's time in charge at Kingston Heath.
Yeah, sure, we sure did. In that 2015 year, bringing in the likes of, you know, Matt Thurtell, Chris Lucas, Troy Ruffin, Ross Archibald ended up coming there, Marko Jankovic. There was a whole list, Ben Litfin, Trent Clulo. So, yeah, the list goes on. And over time, it's just become bigger and bigger, I think.
Katabian out to Edwards. Agwek for Tracheski, who's offside. And Avondale preparing to empty the bench. Matt Reid is going to come on for Kalalu Kamara. And George Ott making his way on as well for Manny Agwek. few years ago. Matt Reid would have been a nailed-on starter in this Avondale team, but he's had his injury struggles. George Ott has been in decent goal-scoring nick so far this year. Scored an outrageous spin and volley against Melbourne Victory here at Avenger Park a few weeks ago. 3 goals for the year.
Yeah, the one thing about George Ott, he's a handful. He's always working hard. He's backing into you. He's running in behind. So he's a player that just causes a lot of havoc up top, and you know, when he's scoring goals, then he's a great value to Avondale.
Ott. Tracheski helps it on for Yusuf Ahmed. It's stolen off his toe by Ford. Eze. Wellsmore picking that one off with ease. Now Ziddy with space to measure this cross. It's off Ashcroft and behind into the car park. It's funny, Hume have been so under the pump today, and Avondale have created so many chances, but I can't really fault most of the individual defensive efforts from their back three. I mean, Ashcroft and Ford in particular have made so many last-ditch challenges and interceptions.
Yeah, they sure have. Obviously, they've been under the pump, so I think you do have to give them credit. There's been a few of those moments where, you know, where Avondale have been driving at them with 3-on-2s, and they've managed to actually to not even allow Avondale to get a shot off on target a lot of the time. So it's credit to them. But, you know, players like Ashcroft, he's very experienced. You'd expect nothing less from someone like him.
We are coming out with the high mark, and there's been a head collision. Friendly fire here between Kellart and Michael Weir. It's a nasty one.
I think he's got him with the elbow.
We'll have to have another look at that. Oh, you're quite right. The contact to Weir's head was separate entirely. It's just the outstretched arm. Reeds. Katabian. Bryce. Manos baiting the press. Tracheski's just been everywhere today. This game's still not beyond Hume City. It will take a third goal to really seal the deal for Avondale. Lloyd Isgrove could come up with something. We'd have a grandstand finish on our hands. O'Kane. Russell. Wellsmore slices it away from danger. Otts looking for the return ball to Ahmed, which is pinpoint. Ahmed for Tracheski. And now Zinni. Sizing up Kellart. It's deflected and behind for a corner. Still scoreless over at John McEwen Reserve between Melbourne Victory and Green Gully. Katabian to the back post. Misses everybody. Kurta slides it down the line. Oysel does well to evade the attentions of Bryce. Eze trying to keep the momentum flowing forward for Hume. Kerner onto O'Kane. Katabian anxious to avoid the foul. Here goes Isgrove. Flying in was Bryce. Manos in the mix as well. Russell putting on the pressure. Bravely defended by the Avondale captain, and Hume have a corner. It's a good move from Hume. Better combinations going forward.
Yeah, I was just thinking that was probably their best move of the day. You know, having someone like Russell as well in the box, he seems so mobile and he's going to attack the ball.
Eze's corner. Ashcroft rises but can't connect. Ishak gathering the ball on the far side. Ishak with the spin. That's brilliantly done by Asen Ishak. And it's straight into the palms of Tom Manos. After all his good work in a tight space. And Edwards just selling some candy to Lloyd Isgrove with the drag back. Here goes George Otts. Oh, pinpoint through ball. Stefan Zinni is in, and he's denied by the outstretched leg of Michael Weir. Edwards, Otts. Tracheski trying to find a way through. The ricochet hit Kerdar. He didn't know much about it. Hume can't get any momentum going the other way. As Wellsmore scrambles for it. Tate Town stepping in. Now Wellsmore with time to assess his options. Drives it in low. The back heel for Ahmed was clever. It's going to take more than that to beat Weir. Three A-League seasons with the Newcastle Jets for Michael Weir. Over 100 appearances here at Hume City in 2 spells. And would you believe it, 1 goal on his debut. Still waiting for goal number 2 for Michael Weir. He does always go up for a corner at the end of the game if they're trailing by a goal.
Yeah, that's one thing about Weir. He definitely won't stop trying. He'll try and score as many goals as possible. But, you know, yeah, he's been around a while now in this league, and you know, he's proved himself as one of the best keepers in this competition going around over the last 10 years. So he's a competitor, and you can see him even at the moment. He's screaming at his players. He's demanding everything from his players. If it was up to him, he'd probably throw himself up front at the moment.
Green Gully have opened the scoring against Melbourne Victory. He goes Kurta. Isgrove. Superbly defended by Dan Edwards. Forward. Isgrove would have been offside. Lloyd Isgrove cutting a pretty frustrated figure today.
Yeah, he's had to defend a lot more probably than he would like today. The Avondale midfield have just been relentless. Like you can see here now, like Towns is still going, still dictating play. No one's actually been really near him all day.
Towns stepping inside and then finding Wellsmore on the opposite flank. Ahmed for Towns. Ahmed's involved, but Tracheski unleashed the strike into traffic. Feels like the sting's gone out of this one. Just a touch. Avondale have run Hume ragged with their just relentless ball movement. A goal could change all that, of course. Goal for Avondale would surely seal the 3 points well and truly. Kellart heads back to Weir. They've been stubborn, Hume. They've hung around.
Yeah, they look a bit out on their feet at the moment, though. Horrible position to be in, 2-0 down away at Avenger Park 10 minutes to go and with no subs left. So I think the 2 early substitutions that were forced in the first half will hurt them as well.
They're in a similar position to Preston a couple of weeks ago when Preston were forced into 2 first half changes through injury and just didn't have the legs to run out the game.
Yeah, and against a team like Avondale who moved the ball so well all day, they just haven't stopped.
And when you're robbed of those game-changing subs at the 60th, 70th minute mark, the fresh legs, the likes of Ahmed that Avondale have brought on, really impacts the momentum of the contest. You don't have those fresh players in the second half to run at tired defenders.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of walking going on at the moment with Hume. Like, they're sitting very deep. But yeah, they've been forced to work really hard today to try and stay in this game and keep things respectable.
Wellsmore. Well done by Mehmet Oysal. Manos finding Reed. Trzaskowski onto Wellsmore. Yusuf Ahmed. Goes to Zinni on the far side, who has to backtrack for it. Zinni goes for goal. Straight into Kurda. Kurda for Russell. He'll get a chance to run. Russell to Eze. Reeds with an emphatic clearance. Eze showing him too much of the ball. Yusuf Ahmed winning it back for the Avengers, and that's a lovely switch of play for Zinni. 2 in the middle for Zinni. Kellart behind for a corner. Great ball from Yusuf Ahmed.
Yeah, he's a handful for such a tall guy. He's so mobile and skillful, and he can play off both feet, right and left foot. So he's a constant threat and a danger, no matter if he's coming deep and picking up the ball or playing in that front line. Someone of his size and mobility is always a handful.
Short corner played back to Trzaskowski. Now Katavian. Avondale deciding against putting a ball in the box. And not on the same wavelength there for once. Not running in behind. Trzaskowski trying to play it to feet. Really well done by Fords. Russell now. Sizing up Matt Reeds. And he was going for the feet of Obieze. Those two couldn't connect. Avondale content to spray the ball around. Continue to pick their moments. This could be a moment for Zinni. Has Edwards on the outside. Plays into the feet of Ahmed. Tracheski trying to pick out the free man. Tracheski finding Edwards in a bit of space. Edwards has options in the middle. Ahmed, brilliant save by Weir. Not sure how much Yusuf Ahmed knew about that one. Off his shin towards the goalkeeper. Stuck out of paw and swatted it away. Dangerous cross from Dan Edwards. Almost hits Ahmed as opposed to him actually having a strike on goal. Deflection off the goalkeeper from the cross. Edwards galloping forward again. Zinni. No way past forwards. Forward, a player with A-League experience at Perth Glory as a teenager. Young Socceroo as well. He's recently spent time in Ireland with Waterford. Oh, a long-range effort comes in from Wellsmore. And we know he can hit them. Flashing just wide. Why not have a pink?
Yeah, that was a great strike of the ball. You know, Emlyn Wellsmore showed a lot last year that he's definitely got goals in him. He scored some very big goals and scored the winner in the NPL Grand Final as well against South Melbourne. So he can be a handful from right back.
I believe he scored for Oakley away at Hume City from a long way out as well.
Yeah, he did. He's yeah, he has scored some actually some brilliant goals as well, some high quality ones. They're not just simple tap-ins. So for a right back, he's got a fair bit of flair about him.
And that famous, spectacular goal against Sydney FC at the home of the Matildas looms large in the memory. Kellart for Isgrove, another man with a big highlight reel. Well dealt with by the Avondale defence. They've turned it over rather cheaply. Now Kellart can cross first time. Finding Oysel at the back stick. It's a penalty. Handball against Matt Reid. Reid is prone on the deck. He thought he was hit in the face. Let's have another look at that one. Is there an arm outstretched there? It's a powerful shot from Oysel. See the arm's away from the body, but does it hit the arm is the question. Really tough to tell on the replay. I have to say, Tyson, I don't see it.
No, I'm not sure either. The ball has either flushed him in the face or it's hit his hand and he's doing the old act like it's hit you in the face.
I think that comes off his face.
The way he's still down, yeah, it could be. It'll be interesting to see what the referee does here, because I'm assuming if it has flushed him straight in the face, you'd assume there could be some blood involved, but yeah,
I don't think Michael Mammis is going to overturn his decision. Well, Hume City with a late lifeline, and we might get that grandstand finish after all.
No, he's dropping the ball.
Oh.
He's changed it.
It looked like he awarded a penalty at first.
Yeah, he did, but I think he's walked over then and looked at
the bloodied face of Matt Reid and thought, I've got this one wrong. Well, credit to the referee for making the right decision in the end. As far as the replay goes, you can see the hand is way away from the body, but it doesn't actually hit the hand. So no penalty for Hume. Rick Marchioli is furious. You can understand the disappointment of having a spot kick taken away from you.
That on top of obviously with Avondale's penalty, all the Hume players were adamant there was a double touch, and there was no overturning there.
Hume will feel they've got the short end of the stick today. But we've played the slow-mo back a couple of times, and it does look like it hits Matt Reid square in the face. Tounce. Keller with the back pass. It's a hot one for Weir, and he has to concede a corner. Not happy with that. The Hume City captain, or vice captain, I should say. Ascroft wearing the armband today. Discussions continue between the Hume bench and fourth official Lucas Mattia. Katabian's corner is a straightforward grab for Weir. There's a tangle off the ball between Bryce and Ford, I think. In fact, Ishak. Isgrove for Eze. That's a long way off target. He's had some promising touches and some flashes of skill today, Obi Eze, but hasn't been super impactful. Of course, still finding his way in senior football.
Yeah, as a young player, obviously, this is a very hard place to come, in particular when your team's probably been without the ball and under the pump for most of the game. But there has been moments where he seems very tidy on the ball. For him, it's probably adjusting as well to the physicality and the speed of these games, because he does look a bit out on his feet at the moment, but he's definitely shown some touches of class.
We've played 3 minutes of the 4 allocated. Of course, we had that stoppage for the penalty that wasn't. Katabian. Bryce. Spotting a gap to burst into. Katabian. Whips it into the channel for Wellsmore. No way past Oysel. And that's full time. And Hume City's barren run against Avondale continues. 8 wins in a row for the Avengers over Hume City, and 14 games unbeaten. They have still never won at this venue. It's the toughest away trip in the league for a reason. And Avondale, after last week's blip, are back to their imperious best, Tyson.
Yeah, it was a complete performance today from Avondale from start to finish. They dictated terms. Hume had some half moments, but I think at the end of the day, Avondale will walk away happy with that. They probably could have scored a couple more goals and made the scoreline look a bit flattering, but they'll be happy. Clean sheet and a win at home and back to winning ways for them.
Manny Agwek from the penalty spot in the first half. Stefan Zinni from close range in the second, teed up by Kerr. And that was all it took for Avondale to take home the 3 points and preserve their 5-point lead at the top of the NPL Victoria table. Thank you for your company at home. I've been Josh Parrish alongside Tyson Holmes at Avenger Park. The final score is Avondale 2, Hume City 0.